Well, this is Osteoporosis Month, and naturopathic Dr. Kate Rhéaume joins us now with some common myths that we're going to debunk.
That's right. Good morning. There's lots of things about osteoporosis that seem like common sense, but in fact may not be true, like diet plays no role in your bone health, for example, is one that we hear sometimes. And that's definitely not the case. A foundation for bone health is a nutritious diet. Of course, think about, calcium-rich foods, but in fact, our bones are also made in large part of protein, in particular collagen. So making sure you're getting adequate amounts of protein, things like meat, fish, and eggs, and of course my trusty bone broth here, which is a source of dietary collagen.
Right, which is so easy to make if you've got chicken, a whole chicken, that you just boil that off, and it's delicious too. Good for colds.
Yes, great at this time of year.
Another myth is that if I take a calcium supplement, well, I'm covered.
That's right. Bones are absolutely more than just calcium, but that seems to be all many people think about. Certainly, there are other minerals in your bones. Magnesium is a really important one. If you're taking calcium, make sure it's got magnesium in it, because that's important for calcium metabolism, and that you're enjoying lots of magnesium-rich foods, things like green leafy vegetables, nuts, seeds, and legumes. Similarly, everyone knows about the importance of vitamin D, but it's important for absorbing calcium, but you need vitamin K2 to make sure that calcium is getting to the bones and not landing in other places you don't want it to go. So those are some other nutrients that complement calcium.
Okay, what are some natural sources of vitamin K? That's one we don't hear of very often.
That's right. So vitamin K2, which is the bone building kind of vitamin K, is found in lots of delicious foods like my Gouda cheese, brie, Jarlsberg, and so there's lots of delicious cheeses, in fact, that are high in vitamin K2.
Any excuse to eat more cheese would be great. Another common myth is osteoporosis is something that you don't really need to worry about until you get older.
Right, but in fact, we build our bone density throughout our teens and even in our 20s. And so it's in a way never too early to think about your bone health during that stage of life. You want to make sure that you've got a nutritious diet and lots of physical activity, because we reach our peak bone mass by age 30, and then we want to hold on to it after that. So it really is an important thing to think about at almost every stage of life.
And it's not painful. So you kind of don't know that you have it, right?
Yes, it's one of these silent diseases, as we say. Lowering bone density is not painful typically until you break a bone. And so if you have low bone density and you're in pain, don't assume that those are connected. Make sure to get that checked out. And yes, the point here is that bone density can be lowering and you don't feel it.
Okay, exercise is so important.
So important. And this really, what happens is when you're doing weight-bearing exercise, that challenge to the body as the muscles are pulling on the bones, it signals to the bones to step up, become stronger in the face of that challenge. So of course, if you have osteoporosis, clear it with your doctor first, but make sure that you're doing, strengthening, resistance, muscle building type exercises, and the bones will respond in turn by strengthening.
Okay, a great way of debunking some myths. Dr. Kate Rhéaume, thanks very much for joining us. Cheers to more cheese.